Hi. So, yes, I'm filming it 2 days earlier. Due to certain circumstances, I won't be able to film it in Friday. And yes, so there won't be any writing as well. No more writing as well till the end of the week. So neither you nor I lose something. So I would like to start with certain things. And also that's also one of the reasons why I didn't want to skip this week. Because this week is a huge, well, it's huge for me, okay? Let me explain. So, as you already know, I did this, well, if you watched my previous weekly recaps, you know that I did this writing detox week. Like, not even a week, it was like 2 weeks or 3 of writing detox. So, let me explain why I did it at the first place. So, why I did it is because I mentioned a writing voice that my writing became formulated. It wasn't emotional, wasn't original, and something like this. But that's the I explained it in a bit technical way, while in reality it was mostly emotional for me. It was emotional for me because I also I don't remember whether I told it, but I did this writing. Generally, why I stepped on this writing path, mostly. Like the first thing was fun. Like it was for fun. I was curious and it was fun. So once again, returning to my favorite type of psychology, EFC psychology, out of myself, what I remember from the very start, something that made me so attached to writing, is that I had I had a lot of fun with my main characters. So what I mean I had fun is, for example, when I wrote a scene and I go, for example, into my kitchen, and for example, I'm still smiling like for 2 hours. That's what because some of my characters did or said something so fun or something so warm that I was actually smiling and I felt good. That was the first thing. Second thing was how much fun it was to play with words and perceptions and sarcasm, irony. That was my initial, well, what you could call like irony, cynism. Well, I can't show you, but in my first chapter, I see that, I start with irony. My first sentence was irony. So it was initially something fun, but not in a very, like in some crooked perception. So as you can see, it was all around fun. And so was the whole process. The superstitions, world building, creatures, characters, plot, everything was fun. Like, not that I'm writing comedy, of course, I'm not. But just even that's fun. So I wasn't writing some dramatic story. That was never the point. So the process itself should be rewarding. Just like in one of my videos, I created that loop of like self, then manager, then the effort, reward, and then again self. That's how the writing process was. Then I moved back because I got into musical college. So once again, EFC psychology, manager. So you can't survive in a college without manager. If you can do it through exile or firefighter, but you won't survive. There are students like this, but that's a complete torture and that's a no. So I chose manager. In my previous weekly recaps, I start with that since I moved back, which is basically at the same week I got into the college, I haven't wrote a chapter. Well, first thing is that of course the main issue was that I didn't know where the story should go next. But as well, I got the story over controlled. Like, I can't explain it really. So if at the beginning it was like mostly self, well, of course manager should be there, but mostly it was self, like that. I don't know, just this pure enjoyment, curiosity, and fun, something I described. And manager is like the logic, the logical part which does everything with like common sense. I don't know how it happened, but it might be that I over consumed a lot of uh, videos and other things like tips. I don't know, not really tips, because I was listening like already published authors, some professors. I've listened to a lot of things. Some I didn't even took to notice, but my I my manager became so great, like so educated, that every word, every sentence was wrong. Like perfectionism and all of those things. Like I mentioned that in my previous weekly recap that my every sentence starts with this like as, when, I, verb, I, adjective, verb, and sentence became like this. That wasn't even the issue. Like that's not the biggest issue. Actually, I don't even care if, for example, feelings still come out. Then I don't care. It even if it's every sentence. For me, if emotions and flow continues, I don't care. Where I was even leading. I had a point and I kind of got confused. So I got this writing detox because whenever I sat in front of my manuscript, my text, my book, I felt pressure because all I heard is firefighters screaming like, "Oh, we haven't written anything," and so it became like this white noise. I don't know what to write, where to write. It wasn't even about plot. I was mostly just, I felt pressure from myself, like from my inner perfectionist, if I can call it like this. And so it wouldn't let me write at all. And of course, not writing was not an option because, like in one of my weekly recaps, I said that my mom suggested that I forbid myself from writing. How it all started. As you know, if you watched my previous weekly recaps, I haven't written, or even if I have written something, it was by hand in this diary on paper, like this, and like this. And I plotted everything here as well. But yes, once again, I haven't wrote it. That's what's, I mean, I did that bloodline map also. Like, it wasn't that I completely detached myself from the writing process, just from the writing process as I used to be, so I kind of eliminate the manager. So the idea was to eliminate the manager out of the process, partly, mostly. So yesterday, I had this vivid, I don't know, I wanted to write, okay? I missed writing. It will be a mess. I'll promise it will make sense in the context. Like I thought I will improve my writing, that if I dive into every detail, if I will learn everything. Once again, I want to escape, like any artist, I think. I want to escape criticism. I don't, like I said, I want to, everyone wants to, no one likes to be criticized, but that's also, I acknowledge that that's probably the inevitable part. And of course I don't really want to accept it because I want my book to be perfect. I want everyone to like it, but I don't think that's possible. And sad but not possible. Logically, I understood it logically. Like, yes, of course, not everyone will like my book, but that's, blah 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 from behind. But inside, I still had this produced that I will make that kind of book. So I felt pressure. I overanalyzed everything psychologically, word choice, plot, no plot holes, no stupid solutions, which I hate actually when it comes to reading or watching movies. I had this perfectionism which was choking my process, that soul with which I wrote. Yes, it no longer became fun. I was no longer writing anything new because I was too afraid at some point. How do I explain it? So like I said, it wasn't fun. Then I had other things. Like I said, I never rushed for word count. I never rushed for the amount because like I am that person who will value quality over amount. I don't know, maybe it will be wrong, maybe I'll change my mind, but just like with that parenting book, everything has to be like flawless. Like I said, I forbade myself from writing. I did some fun stuff, but it didn't allow me to write like full chapter, full scene, something like just small part and something that really sparked and I didn't want to lose it. So of course stress level, okay? Once again, stress level also influenced my writing. Of course, college, exams, everything. So even this week, I had piano exam. So I can't say it wasn't stressful. But I passed it. It was great. And I don't like to mention it. I hate to mention it. But also because I am in Ukraine and this kind of situation is unsteady, like every day is unsteady. And there's a lot of conversations and horror stories about what can happen, who will go to the front next, and so all of these things. I don't like to mention it, but it influences my state because I am in stress. And there's a lot of, I mean, you probably watch news. Everyone probably right now watches news. I try not to, but I still hear them because some are crucial. Yes, it influences my state and the cortisol level in me. So yes, it influences my creative process as well. Despite that, can you imagine I got it back? So that kind of writing, which I had initially, I got it back. So how it all happened? I was returning from a piano exam and I had like hour or two like free time before my violin lesson, and I took that time to search for something. Like I said, I wanted to write something. Like I wasn't even writing. I wanted a spark of new idea, of that curiosity, and I got it. I don't even remember. I think it wasn't even an image. I didn't find anything. I remember that feeling that I wanted, like, wow, I'll write that nightmare. And I was writing a nightmare. And initially, I was thinking I will only write that scene about the nightmare because I saw that nightmare and I didn't want to lose it. The nightmare is like 4 lines long with with dialogue. The nightmare itself wasn't a thing. But can you imagine that I wrote full chapter, like almost 4 pages. So I wrote like this nightmare and then like not even full page. So then I went to my violin lesson, then I waited there, wrote some other dialogue, like some other dialogues between siblings, like 2 older brothers, which are one of my main characters, and then I went to practice all that lesson. Then once again I was in a shady mood. The reality is I wasn't in a very great mood. I wasn't really inspirational. I will come home, I don't feel stressed and so on. I don't think that's even reality. Well, at least not right now. Just once again, I'm not abusing any substances to have this kind of feeling. But the feeling wasn't very good. And I kind of felt, I was even upset, disappointed, and yes, a horrible mix of feelings, not really for writing. But that was so weird of me to expect that one can be especially in a mood of writing. Like, What I mean is that this kind of inspirational wave, oh, I will go and write something. Usually when I had this feeling, I didn't write anything good. But I returned and I was up to do routine stuff, but it was open and I wanted to finish it. So I finished it. 3 hours went in a blink. I didn't notice them. Can you imagine how great that is? I can't even remember when I was writing like this. So what I did with this writing detox, I basically eliminated manager from the game. And the thing is, it was fun, okay? I wrote siblings, like sibling scene. Older and second brothers, older brothers. And it's great. Like, I mean, of course, I started with Nightmare. Is at some point the scene also is not very pleasant. The scene kind of turned around that despite everything, my characters are still there, and I guess that's what I got from it. That I don't think there will be any perfect space for writing because, like I said, I'm still at some point physically I am in stress, but maybe it's doing and creating something in spite of it. So basically internal conflict and not external, if speaking in writing language. Yesterday also unexpectedly I developed a character, Elijah, who was also after Viela. He was in the worst state, like undeveloped to the point that I struggled to write dialogues or even put him in a family situation, which is now a very like I said, I write full sibling dynamics, which I perceive right now that are actually accurate without imbecilic and child immature fun scenes. They can be fun and mature and intellectual. Well, as much as it's possible. Because I don't think any other people can have such weird influence on people as siblings do. So, well, once again, I'm speaking from my experience. That's why I wrote it. So I actually had fun writing those. I know it came out weird. First of all, I'm rushing and I can't fully explain it. So I don't know whether it's a realization that I won't be able to write like for a good part of this and next week. Maybe that's this writing docs. I'm writing because, like I said, I was grinning for the next 2 hours of all these sufferings for this weird 2 hours. That's what I wanted. That's why I didn't want to skip this week, because generally this week was huge, and I'm extremely grateful for what happened. I'm very glad I got it. I got it back. Also, I tell you. Also, my writing back, if not improved. I explained it as much as I can why I think this writing detox helped. I mean, write me your experience with writing blocks, or have you done this writing detox? Literally anything. I would be so curious to read them. Like, honestly, I want some other story as well to read, to just to hear other perception and story of writing and this kind of obstacles that can stand between the writer and that creation. So I'm genuinely curious. So if you could, that would be great. I would be very grateful. So you write something. So that's why I would want to hear your story about writing and how you dealt with it, what helped, and what were your feelings and emotions. If you want to support me and my growth, you can subscribe and you can like, so you could see my other videos and give me that reward for this work. And I will film another weekly recap. That's all, folks.